Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today, which will probably be the last video in my string of videos about the WWE's Royal Rumble 2024. I think it is the one main factor when trying to choose a victor and trying to plan a story to see where we're going on the road to WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 40 is a big show. I mean, you can debate whether if like the anniversary shows have been some of the best ones in the history of WWE. To me, honestly, I think each and every year on the calendar, you know that there's going to be a WrestleMania. I don't think they sit down and they plan certain WrestleManias to be duds, certain WrestleManias to be, memory-making events that you're going to remember for the long history of time. But if you really think about like 9, 10, 11, 10's a better WrestleMania. If you think about like 19, 20, 21, definitely 20 is a WrestleMania that they built memories. He was kind of like a changing in the guard of the way they looked at guys. They started to push like the smaller wrestlers. You didn't really have to be the comic book hero size guys. And then, of course, you look at like 29, 30, 31. I mean, 30, you started with the beer bash. And then you definitely, changed the way you're doing with like Daniel Bryan, a guy that wasn't even planned to be, winning the championship on the booking sheet. They handed it to him. And, of course, I mean, that was a huge time period in his career. He wasn't able to defend the WWE Championship. Then, of course, he got better. He came back. He ended up at 31 winning the Intercontinental Championship. Wasn't able to defend that one. Ended up having to be retired for a long period of time before finally, coming back and having a match at WrestleMania where he teamed with Shane. And then, of course, would main event one more WrestleMania before leaving and going to AEW. But The Rock, I mean, this is a guy that has flirted with WWE and WrestleMania for years. I think he's messed up WrestleMania plans for people like me that make videos thinking about, what's going to happen at WrestleMania. So many times we thought The Rock was going to come back, and he's made appearances this year more than ever. I don't think it really just comes down to his schedule with College Game Day, but it seems like every single time he ends up being on the ESPN college football show, somebody brings him to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Of course, it was his appearance in Colorado where Pat McAfee ended up taking him to SmackDown that night. And of course, him being at was it the USC game? And then no, it wasn't even the USC, but it was at the Rose Bowl. And then, of course, then he made the trip to San Diego that night for Monday Night Raw. He was out there. He said that he missed wrestling fans. He did his, the Rock style promo saying that he loves everybody, thinks about him all the time, and then left us with one of the biggest cliffhangers that you could really have, is that he wanted to sit at the head of the table that night for dinner. A direct shot at Roman Reigns. Some people think that they're actually going to have The Rock wrestle in Perth at Elimination Chamber against Roman Reigns, and that'll be the setup, for WrestleMania 40. I'm sure Perth is going to have one hell of a show. I'm sure that it's going to be one hell of a payday. I really just don't see The Rock going to Perth. Honestly, that's just my opinion. If he's going to be there, they've already set the tone with Young Rock, the one of the best wrestling shows that's ever been on TV that wrestling fans did not watch. I loved that show. He was on NBC for 3 seasons. The first 2 seasons, they kind of did a mix of The Rock's career, where it talked about football, it talked about acting, it talked about wrestling, it talked about his father. But season 3 really just, they grabbed a hold of wrestling and they stuck to it. Maybe that's what killed it, but I think they decided that the wrestling characters is what brought people in. I just wish they could have done more to talk about it on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown, to try and draw eyes to it. I did all that I could do. I tweeted about it, telling people, if you could get past the actors not looking like the wrestlers, but it was the way they did it was funny. I mean, they had Shawn Michaels as a black guy, and I think it was Grayson Waller played Ric Flair. Not the best pick, but definitely a way better pick than whoever played Ric Flair in the Iron Claw. And I mean, it was straight comedy. It was fucking funny. I loved that show, but it's hard. I mean, Rock, the first time he was on Game Day, told us a story where basically the deal was signed, sealed, delivered. He was going to wrestle at WrestleMania 39. It was going to be him and Roman Reigns, just like they said on Young Rock. It was going to be a stadium full of millions of fans in order to have that match. And just something happened. I don't think it was something that happened like Cody Rhodes. They decided to have him win the Rumble and go to WrestleMania. I honestly think when it really comes down to it is a film called Red One. Red One is a film that The Rock made. It's going to be coming out. It's going to be a Christmas adventure movie. It's going to be starring The Rock and Chris Evans. The Rock got paid $50 million to make this movie. $50 million. The Rock's grandpa came from this business. The Rock's father came from this business. I don't think, honestly, either one of them ever made $50 million in their entire career. This guy got paid $50 million to make a movie, basically, that was shot in October of 2022 until February of 2023. That probably meant that he wasn't going to be able to be at the Rumble. He wasn't going to be able to make television leading up to WrestleMania. There was no real way to make it make sense. So I think that's why they went a different direction. I don't know what The Rock's plans are. I don't know if he's making a movie right now. If the actor strike was still going on, I think we might be at that. But they're pumping scripts out because they got to figure out how many movies and TV shows they missed out on in that months long strike. That they got to make it up. But I don't know. The wrestling side of me knows that The Rock being back is a big boom for the business. I'm not the biggest guy that says, hey, they created a story that says that Cody didn't win WrestleMania last year, so he has to win the Rumble again in order to have another match against Roman Reigns. I don't know if something was promised to him. I don't know what it was, but I'm not the biggest guy. If the wrestling business changes, that's just the way it goes. I mean, if they wanted Cody to be the champ that bad, they would have had Cody become the champ last year. I'm not the biggest guy that says, like, hey, you can't have The Rock be champion because he's not going to wrestle on Monday Night Raw. You can't, put the belt on The Rock because he's not going to make house shows. I think that the past 2-3 years with Roman Reigns being champ has shown you it doesn't really matter. They'll carry the show. The name WWE will sell it more than anything else. They'll still be able to sell championships. They'll still be able to sell T-shirts. It doesn't matter how much you see this guy. I think it's bigger if you have The Rock show up, sit down on the couch on the Tonight Show talking about the fact that he's got a movie coming out and he's the WWE champion. But it just matters if they're really going to do it or if it's The Rock just planting seeds, even if we're never going to get it. At this time period right now, I would love to see The Rock show up at the Rumble. I would love to see The Rock win the Rumble. I would love to see The Rock at WrestleMania. That is something to me that would make WrestleMania must see. and that, you block out the day and say, I'm not doing anything besides for this. But right now, I'm not ready to do it. I think that it's going to have to be a surprise to me until the minute that the Rumble starts. I'm going to be picking Cody Rhodes to win the Rumble. Cody Rhodes to go to WrestleMania, and then Rock, it was just an afterthought of like, hey, it would have been cool if he was here, but I don't think he's going to be there. Because as long as Hollywood's calling with $50 million paydays to make a movie called The Red One with Chris Evans, I think he's doing it every time. Peace out, guys. Thank y'all very much.